Yo, what's up? This is my first YouTube video. To, I'm just gonna talk about what the channel's about, and all the other stuff. So, on this channel, I'm just gonna be making stuff that, I want to make, such as history and other types of content. A lot of it is gonna be history, at least for now, because I am a vested interest in studying history. So, and especially in Korean history, because most people know Korean history because of stuff like K-pop, K-food, K-culture, whatever, and everything with that acronym in it. So, I like, but a lot of people don't know the history of Korea, and a lot of people are very unaware of the Korean history beyond the modern times. Okay, like K-pop, K-culture, the Korean wave, or Hallyu, as some people call it. And I would like to shed some light, especially on like the English-speaking side of the internet, about the Korean history, because it's important to be aware of Korean history, especially with the role that Korea has gained on the modern globalized world with things like K-pop, K-food, K-culture, and it's perfect timing that people be aware of Korean history, because not knowing Korean history will allow you to understand a lot of the political events and also the mindset of the Korean people. And when I'm talking about Korean history, I'm more talking about modern Korean history, like 1900s to now, but not really like 18. Maybe okay, actually no, like late 1800s to modern 2000s, but it's also it will help you to understand why some things like in 2024 when the government declared martial law happened, and a lot of people were out protesting, and a lot of people online were like, oh, that's so nice that they stood up for the democracy. But the key aspect of that resistance was not nearly as stated as before as it should be, because South Korea, this is not South Korea's first time dealing with authoritarian rulers or authoritarian methods of governing. South Korea has actually had a history of military dictatorships until 1987 June uprising, where people fought for democracy. And also even before then, there was much resistance against colonial Japan when Korea was colonized by Japan, and also the other reason you need to be historically aware of Korea is so that you're able to understand public reactions to stuff like this. Public reactions to stuff like this, which is, and here it is like, it's like tank, which is basically, this is a promotion that Starbucks is gonna do on May 18th of 2026, which is the anniversary of the Gwangju uprising, where basically people were the residents of Gwangju were trying to fight for democracy against another coup that was happening, which is the second coup in South Korean history. And clearly Starbucks lacked a lot of historical awareness because the protests mentioned earlier were suppressed by the military. And so let's just say that calling it tankde or tankde, like the device they used to that goes boom boom. Let's just say that was a really bad decision. And it's also worth to mention that that the Council Uprising is a very important event to South Korea, as it's one of the events that inspired, that led to the country's democratization and led to the ultimate democratization of South Korea. And I feel it's important that people be aware of it because there's this misconception. There's this I remember some guy on YouTube. I'm not gonna say the name, but I remember it was like some video about like the Korean food, like some Korean food culture, and they're like, oh, they came from a modern, wealthy, democratic country, and that's a really shocking indicator to me as a person who knows a lot about the South Korean history, because for most of its history, it wasn't really modern. It wasn't really modern, wealthy, democratic. And when the guy was talking about that, he was referencing Koreans who were moving to Japan at the time, but I feel like there's an oversight in that at the time, South Korea wasn't really like modern, like democratic or South Korea was a new democracy that had emerged after 2 years of two military rulers. And also it's just interesting to learn about the history of this one peninsula that no one has ever really talked about that often because of China and Japan towering over it historically. But it's good to know about the importance of every South Korean, the North and South Korea, and the dynasties that preceded it. Now, other videos I'll be making, I'm just going to talk about 1900s to 1900s to the modern 2000s history, but I might actually consider making history before that time period. And also, I'd like to cover both South and North Korean history, which are both very important to know for the modern geopolitical landscape. And also I like to make other videos of sharing my other opinions, interests, hobbies, etc. It's not just gonna be history, because frankly that'll be boring, and also I don't want to restrict myself to one type of content. I'm not, as one guy said, specialization is for insects. Anyways, that's my first video on YouTube. Wish me luck. Wish me luck on this journey. I don't know if I'll be lucky if I even get like 10 subscribers, like 100, 1,000, a million subscribers. Honestly, I'd be lucky. I'd be lucky if that happened. Anyways, see ya.